All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the Q&A session on Thursday, the 3rd of February. So, yeah, a little bit of a different time today. We're going to see how we go. This is a public demand sort of thing, so we'll see how we go for attendance-wise. I'll be pretty annoyed if people don't turn up after changing it up. But look, it doesn't hurt to actually mix things up a little bit. Can I just have confirmation you can hear me okay?
Sure can, Ty.
Sure
Awesome.
can, Ty.
Awesome. All right. Great, thank you very much, Fred. I've got to reply to your email too. Sorry, I haven't had a chance yet, but I've got you in my favorites list. Don't worry. So you'll be, I will get back to you shortly.
Yeah,
all right.
thanks for that. There are a couple of other things I'd like to talk to you about. So yeah, if I can call you at some stage, would be good.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, I'll send you an email and give you a couple of times.
Okay, righto. Thanks.
All right, no worries at all. All right, guys. So yeah, look, we've seen a relatively flat night really since last night's webinar. So we'll go through a couple of the different setups and see what I'm looking at and what's getting my attention, and then we'll take a couple of live questions. I've got quite a few things that are in the Discord chat room where I need to answer a couple of questions, which is good. And that goes for everyone too. You know, if you can't make it live and you want a question answered or you want to ask a question, just pop it. You can either email me or you can just pop it in the Thursday room. Just leave a comment there saying that there's a question you'd like to ask, and I'll get to it. Then you can always watch it in the replay. So we try to answer as many questions as possible. And I know last night on the webinar we did it a little bit differently, where we spent a bit more time analysing it like I did last week, and that seems to be quite popular. So hopefully, yeah, you'll get a bit from that. But of course, the Thursday session is a lot more about the deep dive into the analysis and actually trying to break down a little bit more of what we're seeing. So we'll definitely do that on a couple of the pairs that we've got here, and then we'll take some questions. All right. So let's have a look at the Aussie first. First of all, you know, look, we can see here that it's obviously been, finding resistance at the 20 moving average. And you look at that, a lot of people get confused here and they say, well, you know, what do you do with that? Like, you just short it, or do you just wait for it to do something? It depends on whether you've got the time to actually break down the trade or not. If you haven't got the time and you literally can only look at the charts, you know, once a day or once a week or something like that, you see a setup like this, and you know, there is enough evidence here to say that it's at a pullback zone. Yeah, there is resistance in front of you. If you are going to take a short position here, you can do so with the information that's available to you. Is it going to be the absolute best entry that you could possibly get from a technical standpoint? Well, maybe not, because I mean, there could be, you know, better signs on a smaller time frame. I always wait to see the confirmation before I actually trade. I like to do that confirmation, but some people haven't got the luxury of time to do that, right? So you can, like I say, it's not a bad place to absolutely short it if you haven't got the time to do the full analysis. But what I like to do is, you know, we obviously know we've got a really significant area here. Then we start going down the smaller time frames and see what's happening. Now, you look at the 4 hour, indecision everywhere, obviously. So there's no big secrets there. It's obviously the same level. We know this is the resistance point. And yeah, what I'll do, I'll even draw a horizontal so we can actually see, like right there is where I see the absolute resistance around that one, the 7150 area. All right, so then of course when you go to the 4 hour, you can see that the 4 hour struggled to break it, and then we go to the 1 hour. Now the 1 hour paints a different story. This is why I like to go down the time frames. If you go to the daily, tells us that we've seen a bit of a test of it and it's sort of fallen off it. Okay, the 4 hour tells us that it's basically spent the whole day and a bit trying to break through and is very indecisive as to whether it's going to or not. But then we go down to the 1 hour, and you know, we've seen the evidence of a lower high. Okay, now for all intents and purposes, you know, this is why it's not an automatic short. If you were going to short it and you had no other option, I can understand that. But if you haven't got the time, but if you're looking at this from a trading and technical standpoint, I would say that, is it setting up for a short at a very strong resistance point? Yes, it is. You can see that very clearly. But the break zone's down here, right? Like, it's going to get past this zone here to give us the lightning bolt that we need to confirm that this level is starting to sell off. Now, again, what I love about lightning bolts is they generally confirm a pattern. So, and the pattern that this lightning bolt will confirm if it gets down here is, of course, the head and shoulders. So we can see that we've got a head and shoulders at, I'll just quickly draw it. And there's the first one. All right, here's the second. Now I am going to, now that TradingView is absolutely on Pepper, we are going to move over to trade. I'm going to move over to Trading View, and we're going to say bye to MT5. I will bring it in for some cameo appearances occasionally, but for the most part, we're going to, and the reason I'm going to do that is because I'm actually not that good on Trading View. I'm not going to lie. I haven't really had a chance to play with it. I like to master the one I'm going to use all the time. And that, of course, is MT5 at the moment, but I will be going to Trading View. But I'm, unlike Thomas, I like white charts, and my charts are going to look exactly the same. So really, from all it's going to do is it's probably going to look a little bit different from the commands, but the chart's going to look exactly the same. I've been using the same type of charts for about nearly 12 years now. I'm not about to change anytime soon. So that is what we see setting up on the 1 hour. Okay, now it's not going yet, obviously, but if we do get that confirmation and we get the break down below here, we've got a lightning bolt, obviously, at a very strong point of resistance, and we've got a head and shoulders. Okay, so those that's really, really important. And whether you're scalping or whether you're going for a long-term trade, it's all relative, but it's still important to me because I do like the confirmation. I'm not gonna lie, and maybe that's just in me, inherently built in, that I like confirmation before I push on. I have always been that way, not just in trading. It's probably why it took me so long to get a wife and a girlfriend, because I would never preempt the move. I'd always wait for confirmation, right? So I want evidence that it's all good. So realistically, to me, if I see a lower high here, a lower low, sorry, we've got the lower high, lower low sequence, and it's all good to go. So neckline, head and shoulders, and I like this down. Ideally, I like to go down to wife plus girlfriend, Fred. No. I like to go down to the bigger time frame to find the targets, because sometimes they're a little bit clearer. Now, straight up, you can see that the this level here is probably your first sticky point, which is not very, very far away. So that one there, it's going to give you enough room to actually get in and maybe break even, but the real target down here is down to the 70-cent mark again. Okay, so we want to see a retrace of that. At the moment, this is still in a downtrend. Make no mistake, I know we've seen a bit of a move up, but if we look at this on the bigger time frame, the 70-cent mark is probably where it wants to be if it is going to weaken. So I can't see it really stopping here. I think it will probably push down and get us to the take profit that we want. So when we do that on the let's make this a little bit smaller. You can hardly see it on the 1 hour. I'll bring it down here. This is where we're looking for. The 70 is our target, and very clearly that is a very big risk reward trade from the standpoint of where you're going to put your stop loss. What I like about this trade, obviously, is that if it does get in, you don't require a very big stop loss. It only goes above the shoulder, as we know, and the take profit is going to give you about a 4 or 5 to 1. Very, very rare for a head and shoulders. Now, if you want to be really, really, I guess, conservative, you could probably take your profit at the very first target, which is the head and shoulders target, which is that level that we talked about there. Okay, so around that sort of 70, 80 area, that would pretty much be the take profit for that pattern. So you can play it two ways. You can either say, all right, I'm going to scalp that, which is always a good method, and have a longer term trade pushing down to the 70-cent mark. They are separate trades, but they're entering on the same signal. Okay, so that's the good thing about it. You can do both. I like to do this one as my saver. So I would like to enter 2 trades here. One would be the very conservative one, which is the head and shoulders take profit pattern. The second one I will leave running, but this one, if this one fails, this one will more than likely work out. So it's a break-even trade regardless. If the long one fails, the first one's still going to make money, right? So it's a pretty easy way to actually trade it. And the important thing about waiting, of course, for the head and shoulders to play out is that it actually does break past the neckline and confirm, breaks past the 20 moving average as well, the all-important 20 moving average, and the momentum is definitely shifting. You can see the MACD is already starting to drop. So it's really simple analysis, and you do the same thing on all of them. And when you start to break down the trade like that, like you can apply this logic to basically any trade that you place, whether it's short term, long term, or whatever, really. So it's a really, really good way to play it. All I'm doing, as you've probably all noticed, all of you guys have been here for a long time. No, all I'm doing is playing out the Pressix system in my head. taking all the steps. I know roughly what the scores will be without knowing the absolute number, because that changes depending on the trend strength. But I know roughly what is going on here, and we know that we've got very important things all out of the Pressix system confirming this trade. So does that make sense to everyone? That make sense, Dave?
All good.
Awesome.
Yes,
All right. Very, very good. Is anybody interested in the short on the Aussie, just out of curiosity? Is anyone actually looking at it? Anyone looking at trying to get in?
Yes.
I wasn't, but I am now.
Okay. But again, confirmation.
Same here.
Because,
Same here.
yeah, confirmation. Like people see that Head and Shoulders and they say, oh, Head and Shoulders, I'm in. It's not a Head and Shoulders yet. It's looking like it's a Head and Shoulders. It could definitely confirm to be a Head and Shoulders, but absolutely it's not one yet, right? And this is why patterns get their bad name, because people see that and they say it's a Head and Shoulders pattern, I'm trading it. If this doesn't make a new low and starts to push higher and makes a new high, that was never going to be a Head and Shoulders. It was never a Head and Shoulders. And the same argument goes to the people who say, oh, the patterns are all good after the fact. Well, here it is setting up. And that's the whole idea. You see them setting up and you plan for them and you trade them accordingly when they do actually break. It's not just a hindsight pattern. I think Head and Shoulders are awesome. But unfortunately, though, they are one of the ones that can seem to fail the most if you don't do them properly, because mainly a lot of people see them and they just jump in. Remember, this is only a 1 hour chart, but this is confirming what we're seeing on the daily, right? This is confirming absolutely here. We're seeing resistance at a very key point, at a role reversal zone, and when we go down to the 1 hour. And this is why I know this would be a very high Pressix score, because all of the things that we're looking for, that the Pressix is looking for, all of the key contributors to that score. Are we at roll reversal on a bigger time frame? Yes. Are we in a technical long downtrend? Yes. Is there a pattern in the direction of the trend, the longer term trend? Yes. All of the things that it wants to know are in play. And that is a really, really good sign. And that's why I'll be setting alerts for this one. Dave, I think it was Dave who said earlier that TradingView has really good alert system, a better alert system. I think I agree. And I think that it's got a lot of better things, to be honest. I'm kind of excited about actually delving into it, but I'm going to spend, a weekend, learning it and making sure. I don't want to be, caught out not being able to do something in a live webinar. I mean, Tom's an expert on it. I can always ask him, but I like to know it myself. I'm a very simple trader in the sense that I don't need and look for fancy tools that are going to give me, I know people look at things like sentiment and all of the fancy gadgets and tools that you can get. To me, all I need to know is the information that's on the chart. So for me, I like to see, I like to see what I like to see. I know what I'm looking for. And if that makes sense to me, I don't really care what anyone else is doing, to be honest. So realistically, for me, I could trade an MT4 and MT5 and not miss a beat, and haven't for a very, very long time, simply because it gives me all the information. Now, are there tools that will make things a little bit easier? Do they have a better alert system? Absolutely. Could you use that? Definitely. That's awesome, because sometimes alerts are the biggest things that get you in and out of trades in a timely manner, of course. So I can totally understand that. And it would be nice to have some overlays. Don't worry about that. Like, I'd love to be able to overlay, I'd say, the dollar index here, and things that actually make sense. That's going to be awesome. Can't wait to do that. But in terms, it's probably wasted on a dinosaur like me, because realistically, we leave that to the young bucks like Thomas.
Just imagine though, Ty, like with TradingView, see where you've got the crosshairs set on the neckline there. You can draw a trend line across there in TradingView and then set an alert for an hourly close that'll alert you if the hourly closes below that trend line or the neckline. And you can do it with all your horizontal lines and any line you've drawn at any angle on there. I only just discovered it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I actually saw a webinar on it, because I've been checking out a couple of the actually TradingView webinars that they're doing, and I actually did see that, Dave, and I thought, wow, I did look at that and I thought there is an indicator that actually does that in MT5, but it's an indicator, right? That's the problem. Like, everything in MT4 and MT5 is almost like an afterthought. It has to be plugged in. It's got to be, there are things that do it, but I know it comes naturally, and it's very natural to TradingView, and that sort of thing is completely and utterly, it's invaluable when it comes to actually setting alerts. There's no question about that. And I know there's so many little tricks. It's going to take a while to master, and there's so many different videos about it too. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I did see that particular one. It was a trend line I didn't see, but I suppose if you're putting a trend line or a horizontal trend line or something like that, that's the same as a neckline for a pattern anyway. So it's the same thing. And I'd imagine it would play out in the same way. And that is really, really cool. I'm not so sure. I think there is actually. I mean, Kilter's probably the guy to ask about this. He'll know. But I'm probably sure that there's also little automated scripts that will probably even trade that break, Dave, I reckon. Is there little scripts that you can even probably trade it with that? Because that would be really cool.
Quite probably there is. I'm a bit of a dinosaur when it comes to scripts and bots, though. I stay away from them. I got burnt too much in the early days with
I can hear you there. But I think, though, that I think it's not even though it's a script, I think it's a very simple one. I think you can actually just say, I think a lot of it's actually inbuilt from my understanding. A lot of it's actually inbuilt into the platform. So you can actually, do your risk management, place that trade if you want to on a break of that line or something. So although it's automated in a way that it's actually almost integrated into the platform. And I think that's what's so exciting about it. Look, they're the leaders for a reason. And it's probably going to be a very hard platform to top for, especially in the currency world, because the markets move so fast. So those sort of alerts are going to be invaluable, and I'm sure it's going to be a great asset to Pepperstone clients and, of course, everybody else who's been using it for a long time. So that is the Aussie. All right, so that is what I'm seeing, and that is what I like. I don't mind it at all. I'm going to set my imaginary alert on MT5, and maybe Dave, you can replicate this in TradingView, and perhaps if it does it, maybe you can alert the room. Maybe that would be awesome. Can you do that?
I can certainly do that. I love it. I've been starting to use that just recently. It helped me make a lot of money on Tesla in the last couple of days with those horizontal and trend line alerts and things.
That'd be great. Look, if you can do that and maybe even take a snapshot and post it in the Aussie room, just to give and just write it up as an example of this is what TradingView is capable of, that would be awesome, because I think that'll give people who haven't used it yet already a chance to do it. So that would be really good. All right, let's move on. Go on.
I was just going to say the other thing I really like is you can set it for when it crosses the line, or you can set it for the candle close. And I think, like, for waiting on confirmation, I like the fact that I can leave it so that it only alerts me when the candle closes after having crossed the trend line. That way you don't get FOMO as much to jump into it.
That's pretty cool, isn't it? That is very cool. That it gives you the opportunity to actually wait for the close rather than and I'm assuming you can probably say it must close below it or something, like it like not just on the close. You could probably tell it that it has to close below that level. Maybe, I'm sure it was. Kilted gave me a bit of a tune up on this and told me what it is capable of, and he's very, very good at it. So if anyone has any questions on anything that's possible in TradingView, Kilted's your man. Like, Tom's very good, but Kilted's a bloody expert on it, and he knows all of the scripts, and he's written his own. So I dare say that if there's something that it hasn't got, he could probably create it, which is phenomenal in itself, because it means that we could really adapt to a lot of the things that we love to see. All right, let's move on. Go on, sorry. Yep.
There's plenty of online tutorials on TradingView as well, so there's some very good stuff to learn from.
Yeah, there is. I actually I said to Tom, why don't you do a couple of tutorials for us? Because, like I said, he knows a lot about it. He said the resource library is so strong online that he doesn't have to. He said it's probably better off directing people to, because even TradingView themselves have a very vast library of the way it works and the tools that you need. So, and the good thing about them too is they're actually quite approachable in the sense that if there's something that a lot of people think it needs, they will add it. Like they will actually integrate it into the platform. Whereas MT4 and MT5, it's been very, very difficult to do that. They just simply don't listen because people just code their own, and they just expect and have expected for many years that people just create their own scripts and they just put them on, but they don't make it publicly available as much as TradingView would. So I think TradingView, from a sense of evolution, will make the trading environment a lot better, because as people come up with ideas, if enough people want it, they'll actually make it a thing rather than have to actually find an external script. But you're right, there's a lot of good tutorials on it. And I think what we might do is maybe even compile a site and put it into the Discord room of all of the best resources to actually find these tutorials, because I know it answers a lot of questions very, very quickly. Look, there's hardly anything you can't Google these days. I mean, that's Google's incredible in itself. So I know you can Google those sorts of things, but it'd be good to have a resource in the room probably where a lot of these tutorials lie. So that would be awesome. All right, let's go to we'll go to the US dollar CAD very, very quickly. Still waiting for it to do its thing. Still nothing to worry about in my mind. Still just doing its thing. But yeah, just wait and see. Still at the level. Very similar to what we're waiting for on the Aussie. Really, if the Aussie shorts, it means probably we're going to see a bit of dollar strength, and the dollar strength is going to help this CAD kick off this mark. Look, nothing's changed from the other day. This is pulled back to the level where you would expect you take a trade, and yeah, nothing really to see here. MACD still about to enter above the zero, which is always good. Yeah, happy days on this one. So no worries there. Literally nothing has changed. Very quick look at the US dollar yen. Again, it's pulled back to the that strong roll reversal zone that we were talking about the other day. I don't like that it didn't continue on. I would have liked a little bit more strength. I know we're in a slightly, volatile market where things are a little bit uncertain, but I probably would have liked to have seen a little bit more strength here. I don't like that it stopped short of fulfilling its previous high. But in saying that, it's got a bit of work to do to break the bottom as well. So I think we probably start looking for opportunities down here. I don't like it. Look, I'm not gonna lie. I don't like the fact that it didn't go high enough, but I am also conscious of the fact that it did reach the previous strong resistance at around that 115 sort of 40 area that was basically set here. It reached it there and sold off. So I kind of forgive it for that. What I don't like to see in a market that is hopefully about to break out is if it did this and it didn't have any pre-resistance there, like if this wasn't here and it did this, I would be far more concerned about it. But the fact that there was resistance there and it sold off it makes it a little bit more forgiving, if that makes sense. So I'd be more inclined to be looking for a long opportunity if we get a lightning bolt on a smaller time frame from here, as opposed to if that wasn't there. If that wasn't there and this was the previous recent high, and it did that and then came down and didn't make, failed without any serious resistance, that just shows me a weakness in the market that I'm not comfortable with to try and long off that level again. So does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Yes,
it does.
Yeah, cool. It's important. It's not an absolute deal breaker, but it's important to understand it there, because it means that, if there's resistance and a market stops, you kind of almost expect that it may have, or it may have at least paused there. If it's not there, it's pausing for a different reason, or it's showing a sign of weakness. It hasn't got enough momentum to push past nothing effectively. And that's why you've got to be really, really conscious. But then again, you go to the smaller time frames now. We know what's going on here. The trade was very easy on the hour if you wanted to scalp it, but now, nothing short of an hour time frame change of trend is going to convince me otherwise. This has to get above these moving averages on the 1 hour, a bit of a pullback and then up and a break of that level, and then I think we're good. I do like it. I don't mind this trade. I think we can definitely get back to this level pretty easily. There's no worries about that, but it has to prove it at this level. I wouldn't want to be seeing it down below that 114 level. That wouldn't be cool at all. All right, so we want to be seeing a change of trend here, lightning bolt, and off we go. Good one to set an alert for. This is probably one where, if it does do it, I reckon you're going to have an easy time probably getting that 50 to 100 pip scalp. I will be treating this level with a lot of caution though if you do that. Okay, this is the level that it's obviously pulled it up before. It can get there fairly quickly, but it's one of those ones where you definitely want to be paying a lot of attention at that level. So whether you're taking profit or at least breaking even or moving your stop loss up, whatever evasive action you want to take, just be very, very mindful that may pull it up. But if it does break that, we're off and running to the high 116s again. So, and it's going to have enough MACD power. Signal lines out of the MACD. That makes me happy on the 1 hour. Daily, it's sort of flatlining a little bit. I mean, the histogram's not telling us a hell of a lot. It's been a very small histogram on the bottom underneath the zero and a very small one on top, which tells us obviously the moving averages are nearly crossing over and doing nothing. So we're not getting a lot of momentum on the daily. but we're really factoring in the 1 hour there, and probably the we'll look at the 4 hour as well, but that's going to be a bit of a different task. This has got a bit of work to do to be reversing on that, and by the time that reverses, it may well be up here close to where you're going to take it. So the 1 hour will be enough. Give us a lightning bolt on the 1 hour and we'll be good to go. All right, dollar index weakening again, but it is still like it's really trying to stay above the moving averages. I'm not going to be convinced that this is going short until it absolutely closes below the key moving averages on a 20 and actually breaks down past this level here. This is the level for me, and it's not far away from doing it, but this is the level that 95.50. Let me move my marker down there. 95.50 for me is the do or die line for the dollar index. As long as it manages to keep itself up there and doesn't close below it, I'm comfortable that it's going to maintain its strength, or at the very least hover in this area. I will be getting concerned on this one if it does break down below there. At that point, I'd be probably starting to look for shorting opportunities, and that's going to not bode very well for a lot of the dollar-based pairs that we looked at earlier. So yeah, this is a key point for it. I'm not overly concerned about the moving averages here. This is the level that concerns me. Okay, if we see a break below that, then we start to be a little bit more concerned. All right. And obviously the euro is the same. It's at the 20 moving average, of course. Morning star pattern, which is the opposite of the evening star that we saw on the dollar index. But again, this is the level that it needs to break. You know, in the opposite of the dollar index. If it breaks past this level here, which is that 113 sort of 70 area, it needs to close above there for me to be convinced that the euro is potentially going long again. And if it does that, it opens itself back up to the 115. So it's not a bad trade, and I'm happy to take either side, really. I'm not overly fussed on what it does, as long as it does something, but I'm not going to be trading it until it does. Make no mistake about that. We need to either see the reversal around this 20 moving average, very similar to the Aussie in that regard, where we're looking for a reversal pattern in this area here. I'm not sure if the same pattern setting up, not really. Yeah, we don't see the head and shoulders that we saw earlier, but we are seeing on the 1 hour, a lower high, and if we get that lower low now, and it does confirm the lightning bolt and gets past the 20 moving average and closes down there, I would be starting to think that, we might be seeing a bit more weakness and the dollar index will start to rise, which is almost what the technicals are trying to tell us, really. But again, we just have to let them play out. You can see here, this is a pretty reasonable support zone here. I'd like to see it below here. So when I see a lightning bolt, I don't want to see a close just there, right? I'd like to see a close below this area here. Give us a decent lightning bolt that actually looks like it's got some form of strength, and also getting past the key level, which is, it's only a short-term level, but it's a key level nonetheless. It gets past there and it opens itself all the way down to around that low 111 again. So it's a pretty good trade once it actually gets in. But of course, failing that, it's got to get above those levels that I talked about, which is around here, and that will see a breakdown of the dollar index below that 95.50 that we talked about. All right, let's go over to the, we'll have a very quick look at the ASX, see what it wants to do today. It's very similar to where it was yesterday. This is a weekly chart, very similar to where it was yesterday. Very difficult candles to trade, which generally tells me that it's probably going to hover in this area. And this is why I did that options video for an iron condor on this one, because I think it seems to want to hover in this area. And we've given it a very big range too, right? So we've given it a pretty big range to operate in and hover in, and we can still get good trading inside that range and still be very comfortable with our options position. So when you start mixing options positions with trading, I'm not so sure how many people in the room are doing the options course at the moment or are going to be involved in the options course. But when you start mixing them, a lot of people think you can only do one or the other successfully, but that's not the case at all. Like if you do say an iron condor on this one like we did, and we've got a 72.50 and a 68.50 baseline for where we want it to stay. There's nothing stopping you jumping in and trading the futures and trading the CFD version of it and trading within that range. Like, you've already got a bias, and your bias is actually the longer term view on the iron condor. So while it's hovering in that view, you're going to make money. And what a lot of people do, I've found that it's an interesting concept, and it does work. I don't do it personally because I don't really have to. I sort of base all my, and actually my options trades are too big to actually do it, to be honest. But what a lot of people do is they'll take an iron condor in this zone, say a 72.50 and a 68.50, and they know that if the price is in the middle of that zone at the expiry date, they know they're going to effectively make money, right? They're going to make the money that they the full profit on it, and they'll risk that full profit on either side of those bands. So what they'll do, they'll put a trade on in the opposite side and use that as their buffer. So it's almost like you're trading with, because the thing is, right, if you go, when you think about it for a minute, if price goes up to the 72.50, right, and it looks like it's going to break up above that band, and you take a long trade on it, and you've got an iron condor that's actually protecting the lower side, that lower condor is effectively going to start to weaken until you get to the outer wing, which is the total loss, which is only what you were going to make anyway, because they're generally a one-to-one trade, right? But what some people do is they'll take the opposite view and they say, all right, the 72.50, I've got the iron condor protecting that middle anyway, so I'll take a long at the 72.50, and my downside is actually protected. So they'll put they'll have a failed stop anywhere below the 72.50, because they know that if price gets below their entry point at 72.50 at the expiry date, they're going to be able to basically get the full profit of the iron condor anyway. So they match the maximum profit of the iron condor with what they're prepared to lose on the long trade at the 72.50, and that effectively makes it a free trade, right? So because if it's above 72.50, well, this position is going to be in profit, and if it's below 72.50, as long as it's not below 68.50, your stop loss is completely covered, because even though you've lost on this trade, you've actually made it back on the iron condor. And that's how people join trading and option strategies together. So they use one almost like a hedge, right? Like you're almost hedging out the trade that you're placing. Look, it's a good concept, but it really comes down to the size that you're trading and whether it's actually viable from a broker perspective. But it works. There's no question that it works, and technically it makes sense, and also from a monetary standpoint it makes total sense, right? So you can see why that would work. Does everybody understand that? Do you understand that, Dave? Hopefully.
Yes, Ty, although I still haven't yet traded any options yet. I'm still setting my account up. But
that's okay, yeah. Well, look, it's not a bad way to play it. I mean, watch the videos and learn. Look, the best way to trade options is to watch other people doing it and watch the explanations first, and then they make a lot more sense. Once they make sense, they're so easy. Like they literally, and that platform that I showed you in the video, which is the one I'm going to do all of the stuff on, you literally can't screw it up. I mean, once you put the trade on, it tells you your worst case scenario, tells you your best case scenario, tells you your break evens. You can't get the options changed wrong. What the biggest knock on options a lot of the time is they're complicated to put on, because you've got to get the right chain. You could make a mistake on the expiries, you could make a mistake on the codes, and blah 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 blah. But on that platform you can't, right? Like it literally does it all for you. So you literally can't get it wrong. All you got to do is check that the expiry dates are on the right, they're all aligned, which is that's a 1 second job. It's all on the one screen. And then off it goes. But look, what we're doing, as you know, we're doing an options webinar. The options webinar, by the way, will be the February one. Will be not next week, the week after. But we're going to mix in a couple of Q&As for the options as well, because I know a lot of people have got the a lot of questions on options. So we'll do a couple of Q&As on that one as well. We'll probably start doing 2 Q&As. We'll make them slightly shorter, and we'll probably start doing 2 Q&As a week. Maybe one in the morning, one at night to break it up. So just out of curiosity, with everybody here, if you can't talk, it doesn't matter, just put a yes in the chat room. Does this time work for people better than the night?
Yeah, sure. Yes. It's a very good time for me. Very good time. Thanks.
It does. Okay. Interesting. You know what? I'm not going to lie. It's probably a better time for me too, because yeah, sometimes it can get a little bit late on a Thursday night, especially after a late Wednesday. And it seems I was getting a lot of comments saying that this is pretty good. So, and it also opens it up for people from around the world if they want to, because it is not a bad time for a lot of the Americans as well. So all right, look, well, maybe we'll stick to it, but we're probably going to do 2 anyway. So we'll probably do an evening one and a morning one to mix it up a little bit. We're going to be doing a lot more live content this year. That's going to be a lot more coming out, because we're covering a lot more now. We're doing a lot more with things like options and this, that, and the other. And yeah, we're all good. Dave, I don't even know how you're awake for every single event that happens. I'm looking forward to seeing it in person in Queensland to really test your mettle and see how long you can actually go without sleep. We're going to find that out very, very shortly. By the way, Dave, when are you going on the Evolution? 'Cause I know you are. When is that date? Have you been on it yet, or are you?
It's this Friday with Amanda. I've got to sort out when to meet her in the morning, actually. Tomorrow.
Right. Lovely. Okay. So for all of you who don't know, Dave and Amanda are going on the Evolution, the super yacht we're chartering on the conference dates to test it out for us and make sure that it's everything that it should be, which I reckon is awesome. I wish I could have done it, which is really, really good. Both of them are very, very deserving for all of the work they do for us in the community. They're very, very deserving of this amazing trip to, basically, it's almost like travel guides, Dave, isn't it? You're actually going out there, checking it out, making sure that it is what it is, and hopefully having an awesome day. And hopefully the weather will be really good for you, and you can come back with really, really good reports, because it's going to be certainly a highlight of the whole conference. Laurie asked a question here about the where was it? I'll just go back to it. Sorry. The platform I used, Laurie, was the Implied Volatility platform. That's the one we use for the Australian market. And Thomas is going to do, when he does an options video, he's going to mix it up a little bit and do the US options, and he's going to use Tasty Trades. Okay, so so literally we are going to, so we're trying to use both. Both platforms are very good, and yeah, they're definitely we're going to do videos on both of them to really show you how to use them and explain the best way to do it. So we're going to do US options as well. It's not just the Aussie ones. We're going to try and cover everything. And Mick, yes, we are working on the IV cost. We're very, very close to a deal there, mate. We're trying to get a really, really good deal for everyone to be on the IV platform. Because to me, it's the platform I want people on, because it's the platform that really will stop people from making silly mistakes that you can make on standard platforms where you have to create your own chains and things like that. I want people not to make mistakes in options trading. So we're trying to get that price down to rock bottom for our members to give everybody the opportunity to use the same platform, because I think it is really, really good. Samson asked, is there after hours trading for options like there is in stocks? Look, there's not with Implied Volatility, and I'm not sure what it's like for Tasty Trades. That's the question I've got to have for Tom. I don't think so, but in saying that though, the good thing about options is that the after hours gives you an opportunity to actually set up all of your things, because they're not as time sensitive in the same sense as actually taking a trade, like from a technical standpoint for a scalp. You have got a little bit of time on your side, because what you can do, you can actually place the trade that you want, Samson, and effectively load it in with a limit order, and then as soon as the market opens, it's either there or it's not. And if it's not, well, you've got the opportunity to adjust it or not. So because it's a regulated market, look, I like the options market because it is what it is. What you see is what you get, but you can place the trades. It just it won't execute until it actually opens, a bit like the standard, the full stocks. So there's no real, there is an aftermarket, but that's not always available to every retail trader. So sometimes there's an aftermarket because technically the Aussie market options are still trading up until about 7 p.m, even though the market closes at 4. But yeah, it's a little bit, it's different. It's a different way of doing it, and I don't think the Implied Volatility platform actually does it. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense. All right, let's go on. Someone wanted to see silver. I'm gonna go to.
Can you hear me, Ty?
I can.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sure can. All right. Let me go find it. I think I should have it here somewhere. Hang on. I was looking at it the other day for someone else.
Ty, what are the chances of you getting a deal with Implied Volatility for the members?
Very good. Very good. The chances are very good. And I plan on having that before the conference. It's coming very soon. So the chances of it the chances of it are actually guaranteed. The level that I want, because I'm really wanting a really, really good deal. So yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I could have got a deal already, but I want a really, really good deal. So I want it to be absolutely rock bottom. and that's the point. So that's why it's taking a little bit longer. But I believe we'll get it, and we're certainly going to get something. It's 100% guarantee we're going to get it cheaper. It's just how cheap, and that's, I'm pushing for the cheapest possible. So that's why it's taking a little bit longer. But we will have a definitive answer. And yeah, it will be better. That's ideal, Mick. Yeah, that's what we'll be trying for. So yes, all right, let's go to silver. Here we are. Again, this is the one, I know we talked about it yesterday. I do like it, and I like this level a lot. It's to me, it's got to look. It's starting to. It wants to do what we all want it to do, which is go up, but it just has to do it on a smaller time frame to convince me. Really, it's not very far from it. It wants to go. I really want to see it back at 24. I think it's got it in it, but it's going to have to break past this level here. This is the first real point of concern for me. But in a sense, that's a trade in itself, right? So if you want to scalp it, it's a difficult one to scalp. But if you are going to scalp it, this is a place where you could see a potential long. I want to see the 15-minute get above these moving averages here, though, for starters. If it does that, I'd be pretty happy with the move up to this previous resistance. Okay, these are only really small trades, but again, silver's contract size is really, really strange. So I like it. I think it's setting up for a bit of a move up. I like that the 15-minute is at a reasonable level of support. I think the 1 hour just needs to pop its head above those moving averages, and the daily, well, even a move up to the moving averages will still be a reasonable trade. That's up to around that 23.15. So it's all small trades, but I think the bigger picture is up to 24. But to me, this is the first point of a problem for the silver move on the bigger time frame. It's a roll reversal right in the middle of the channel anyway, right? So no surprises there. I'd be taking my first set of profits around this level here, and then aiming for the big one. Have a look at the
4 hour, Tom. Toy.
Oh my God, did you just call me Tom Warwick?
Oh, I did. I'm sorry. Look, give me a lot of Amanda slips. I don't mind.
That's all right. 4 hour. Yeah, look, it's similar in the sense that if we get that close, it's all really telling the same story, that if we get that close above the moving average, especially the 20, that will get us on our way. This is the level I'm telling you about that I'm saying is going to be a bit difficult. Ideally, once it passes there, it's a pretty easy run all the way to 24. I like that the MACD is shifted here, though. So you've got the histogram about to pop up above 0, which is really good. I'm pretty happy about that, and I think that really bodes well for the move up. It's one I'm watching very, very carefully, and it's not just one that I'm bringing up because it was asked for. I think it's actually one that you really want to watch because I think there's about 3 trading opportunities in it. I think there's the first one is up to the first resistance, then there's the one up to the second resistance inside the channel, and then there's the cheeky scalp straight off the 200 here on the 15, because in its own way, it's a level of roll reversal as well, albeit a very, very small one. So I think there are 3 trades there, and Dave, I think you're right. Gold is above 1800 again. If it definitely pushes up above 1810, you could see silver definitely getting to around that 23 level. I think that would be a really good move for it. And I think there are 3 different ways that you can play that game. So yeah, I think pretty good trading on that one. So really good.
Gold 4 hours pretty much the same, Toy.
Yeah, I was looking at that this morning.
Not better.
Yeah, I was looking at that this morning actually. It is. I know we've done. This is the 4 hour on gold is actually trying to. All it's got to do is close, in this vicinity, and we could be potentially off and running on gold. Like it wants to, doesn't it? It looks like it really wants to. I love it. I love a lightning bolt.
Stick a fib on there.
Are you talking about the fib of this move?
Yeah.
That'd be a 38.2, wouldn't it?
Shit, yeah.
Yeah, it's at the 38.2 now, but I don't like that 38.2 because that's gonna want to short it. I don't like that one. That's okay from a shorting standpoint because it's testing the 38.2 on the way down. But this is the resistance. It's good that you draw a fib though, because sometimes people don't draw fibs where you're looking for potential resistance. They're only doing it to try and actually help you. it's good to draw a fib in the reverse, which is what this is because this is, if you were looking for shorting opportunities, then you'd say a fib of that move, which is 38.2. But what it does show you is it is an area that people will be looking at that and saying, damn, I'm shorting that at 38.2 fib. So it's actually good to know this level, and it's good to know that the fib 38.2 is there and that's exactly what we're saying. We want it to break above that, and if it breaks above the 38.2 fib, which we know is a very important fib for momentum, that bodes well for the long. So very, very important to understand your levels. Like I do know fibs. I very rarely draw them. I only draw them for the community or if I'm doing a video because I can look at it and know where the fib is. But sometimes it doesn't hurt to actually put it on the screen so people can actually see it.
Yeah.
But
it's at the R1 pivot too, daily pivot.
Is that okay? Yeah. So
sorry, it's just below the R1 pivot.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's got, and I think that's what proves the point, though. If it does break past this level, it's put a lot of the ugliness behind it, and I think that's what's important. It's proven, it's put itself in a place where a lot of the trouble is behind it, and that's what we like in trades. Once the heaviness is behind, what it does two things. It obviously means that it can move forward with a great deal of momentum without having any more resistance before the next hit zone, but also it gives you a lot of protection from your stop loss, right? Because your stop loss is going to be well and truly protected. And realistically, you can say, well, all right, the stop loss is going to be behind all of this trouble that we couldn't get past in the first place. So it's going to give you that added cushion, if you like. And I think that's really, really important. So it's always good to, definitely know your levels. Samson says, could you do the same thing with the QQQ? Same thing as in how we draw it up.
Oh, Ty, maybe it's easier if I explain it instead of typing it. You were saying that once you're past that level, then you feel more confident. Do you mean like if it goes past the 38.2 fib into the 50, then you can feel more confident that you've left behind the potential for it to go short, and then now it's going long? Is that what you're saying? Because now it's gone past the point for the 38.2 point. Is that what you meant, or did I misinterpret that? Because I was wondering if you can do that same analysis on the QQQ and tell us where you think it is based on the move from the last few days. Hello? Hello?
You can't walk about.
I lose you guys?
Yeah, I think Ty might have had
Ty's
a problem.
dropped out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't do it on the Qs, Samson, because Ty doesn't have that chart there, but he can do the NASDAQ futures. Have a look on it.
Sure.
But from that fib perspective that he's just drawn there, that, as he said, that's really the short. And I mean, if it breaks above the 38.2, there'd be more people looking for it to short off from the 50, and then from the, although if it broke above the 50, you'd really think that it's going long.
Okay. So that, like I was just trying to. Sorry.
You're all right. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I just want to make sure I understood his strategy here. So, because he drew the fib from the top to the bottom because he's looking at it going short versus long. And so I was trying to understand what he was saying about it. Well, if it breaks beyond this level, you feel more confident. And I wasn't sure if he meant, are you switching now your strategy to long versus short because now it's broken past the 38.2 into the 50? Or, like, I wasn't sure if I understood what he was saying. And I thought maybe if you could do it with...
He's drawn it that
sorry.
way. I was going to say he's drawn it that way because it's a down move. So when it's a down move, that you're measuring, you want to see the bounce back against the move. So he's measuring that move from top to bottom there, and then it's bounced back 38% basically. Whereas if that had been an up move, like if you took, say, the one further to the left, the bottom there, and then ran it all the way to the top, that would give you the fib the other way.
Furnace retracing. And so if you were to apply this to the QQQ, because the QQQ's had a big drop like that and it's also had a move up, I think that it's right now at 0.5. And so does that make us more confident that it's potentially past the worst part, or not necessarily?
Hang on, I'm just bringing up the QQQs on my chart to run a fib across it.
Thanks.
I just had another look at the 4-hour. Now that's shown yesterday's close candle rejected off of the pivot, well, near enough to the pivot on the daily. When I usually sit on a 10-minute chart because that's my preference, but that's telling me that current price is now right between the 20 and the 50, with the 20 above. So there's an even money chance that it might break down below the 50, or if it breaks above the 20, well, it's happy days for me.
And sorry, which one were you looking at? The 4-hour
gold.
of which one?
Yeah, gold US.
Oh, okay.
I use a 10-minute chart. I don't know what's the 15 look like. I'm using two computers and it gets a bit worrying now. And yeah, it looks like a pretty good potential to break the 20 on the 15 in a long move, but the MACD doesn't reflect that. RSI is not too bad, but they're both the same anyway.
Yeah, just to cut in again about the QQQs, I just run a fib on that, and it's come up close to the 50. Sounds like...
Yeah. Close, yeah.
Oh, Ty
Yeah,
can't
so-
get back in. He's saying he's been booted and can't get back in, lol.
Oh, that's all right. We can do it by ourselves.
Yeah. So the Qs have pulled up just short of the 50 fib. So probably looking there. Actually, I wonder if I can share my screen.
Yeah, I was just about to ask if anybody wanted to do that. So.
No, I've got to ask the organizer to make me a presenter.
Oh, yeah, that's a problem, and he can't get back in. He can't do that.
He managed to get in with 2 logins last week when it dropped out, so I don't know.
He can walk about.
Yeah.
Hang on. Yes, yeah, I think you can, you know.
There should be a way. Like, I know you can.
I've lost myself for a second, so I'll get myself back into action and see what happens.
There's a share, or yeah, I see what you're saying. You have to ask the organizer.
See what I can do.
Yeah, I tried hitting that screen button, but it won't let me show.
Work.
But
it doesn't.
No, it didn't work.
It doesn't.
Yeah, but, yeah. But anyway, with the Qs, it's pushing up just beneath the 50 fib. So it's at a resistance level, really. So like shorters would be looking for it to reject off that 50 fib and head back down towards the previous low.
Like I mentioned, have you had a look at the 15-minute chart?
On the Qs or the?
Oh, I don't know. I'm on MT5. I'm an old dinosaur too, Dave. Don't forget. I'm just hanging around waiting for it to pop above the 20.
Ty's just asked me to apologise and wrap it up. He said he'll answer Samson's question in the chat.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Okay, thanks. And so what were you asking, Warwick? Which chart are you looking at again? Are you looking at silver or gold?
I'm looking at the gold chart at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Oh, if we wanted to continue this anyway, we could always get on Discord and go to the Hangout.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at the 15-minute chart. I'm generally on with a 10-minute chart because I find it's a little bit slow, quicker than the 15, and a bit slower than the 5-minute. 5 minutes. Oh, it's only 3 seconds. The new candle coming up about now.
Oh yeah.
You see where the new candles. Oh no, I'm on the 10.
Oh yeah, it seems to be breaking a little bit on the 10-minute, like you said.
Yeah, but RSI and everything's not too flash. All my indicators. Hang on, I better just change this. Which template are we on?
So Ty said here in the chat that Samson, that is exactly right. Once the 38.2 and the 50 are broken, the likelihood of a reversal is far less. So it is important to let those zones get broken.
Oh, is that what he put on the Discord?
Yeah, he did that in the public trade chat. That's what Ty said.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, I'll go check.
He's tagged you in it. But yeah, I mean, with the Qs, I'd be like, if it breaks above that 50 fib, yeah, it's probably going to go long.
Okay.
And but at the same time, it's like it's got resistance right in its face.
Yeah, exactly. And it is slowing down when you go in the lower time frames because it's starting to flatten. It's not going up as fast, right? The candles are getting shorter and shorter. And consolidating, I guess.
Generally, this time of the day, I put a vertical line on the open on a 10-minute chart,